guys, and welcome back to my channel. So it happened. So if you're watching this when this video just came out, it's a Tuesday, and my uploading schedule for How to Be Happy January is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's what I aim for. And it's so funny, I was just saying this on Instagram because I actually got kind of big-headed. Big-headed is the wrong word. I got excited because I was like, man, we're like halfway through the month and I haven't missed a day yet. Like, this is a record for me. It's so exciting. And then yesterday, I finally hit that point that happens every year that I do this series, where something inevitably comes up that makes me not want to upload. And it was weird because I had the video done. I actually filmed it prior to getting my facial laser done, which I told you guys I just had that done. Last week I had the halo laser done. I did film a video for that, so that video will be up at some point soon in life. So I had this video done, I had this video edited, and for some reason yesterday when I sat down to watch it, it wasn't sitting right and I didn't want to upload it. And I started to watch it through with Dan because I watched every single one of my talking videos through with Dan before I upload, for multiple reasons. And right when I started the video, I was like, I don't even want to watch this because I already know, I've seen it, I edited it, I don't even want to put this up. And Dan was like, dude, then don't do it. So we made like a quick judgment call and I decided just to not upload it. I kind of felt like I wanted to change the subject of this next video. I was gonna say I wanted it to be more authentic, but not that I've actually had what I'm going to be talking about within the last few days, but for some reason this is just what was resonating with me, and that is emotional breakdowns. I had a pretty big breakdown. We're gonna call it that. That's so dramatic, but we'll just say that. Because that's what it was. I had an emotional breakdown about a couple of weeks ago, pretty much right after Christmas. And I think there were a lot of reasons for that. My period definitely stokes the flames of my emotions. And, you know, winter is kind of hard for me in my body. And just the new year, I think everybody kind of coming out of the holidays, going into the New Year's, I think that a lot of people tend to feel this, like, I don't know, weight. And when I went through that a few weeks ago, it was also simultaneously when I was planning How to Be Happy January, and I was kind of mapping out the videos that I wanted to do, and I ended up just journaling and thinking about and praying about what I was going through and what it all meant. And I actually, this morning when I was figuring out like how I was going to be talking about all of this in today's video, I opened up the journal entry, which was really, it's a journal entry, but it was actually notes for a video that I wanted to do anyways. So we're bumping it up, we're doing it today, and I've actually decided that I want to read this entry, these notes, these thoughts that I had in this video, because I think it's going to give a good jumping off point. And I might insert my own little thoughts in my own entry too. Emotional meltdowns. It's good to feel them, but it sucks. And all I meant by good to feel them is like just feeling emotions in general. It can make you feel alive, but it also sucks. I get so embarrassed that I don't really have any words to describe how ashamed I feel. Ashamed of my mistakes, letting other people down, wanting to do right by people, but knowing, or at least feeling, like I'm hurting people's feelings left, right, and center. And then feeling guilty for feeling guilty because my life is so amazing. I have so many blessings. But those blessings don't take away from some of my sadness, particularly my physical pain. I'm so grateful for the health I have, and I wrote "so" in all caps. I'm so grateful for the health that I have. I am beyond lucky and blessed. But my pain feels like a little kid tapping at me saying, Mom, 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 all day long, all day, every day. And it sucks. And sometimes I freaking lose it, which I should have said that in the beginning too, that part of that breakdown, and pretty much every breakdown I have, that is always a streak within that breakdown. It's usually it's an element. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an element in the breakdown. And it sucks. And sometimes I freaking lose it. And then I hate myself for losing it. I feel dumb. And then having all of these feelings that come up during an emotional breakdown can make me question everything. All of the life decisions that I've made. And then it's hard to tell what's real. Because there are seemingly two different schools of thought when it comes to emotions. They are either always to be bowed down to and taken as sometimes even the word of God, like it's God, or we're told to suppress them because we can't trust them. They're fickle, they're fleeting. As someone who kind of lives in the middle of those two states, I kind of believe both, it can make these emotional breakdowns hard to understand. But the thing that I've realized in this last breakdown, besides the reminder of the fact that my period turns up the volume on all of my emotions, is that I need to get better at experiencing them, the emotions, and sitting in them, writing them out and not judging them. I don't have to make any decisions right now about what I'm feeling and what it means. I can cry and I can think and pray and be honest with myself. It's okay. I can trust that God will reveal what this all means one day at a time or never. But I can trust the fact that He will guide my steps. And that's the end of those notes. I don't even know fully why I felt compelled to share this topic today, but I felt like it needed to happen today. It's so funny, like as I'm talking, it's something that makes me feel so uncomfortable because it's so vulnerable. If you know anything about the Enneagram, I am a 7 on the Enneagram, and the way that they talk about 7s not wanting to experience pain, wanting to stay on the surface, wanting to be just like joyful and bubbly, even like talking about emotional breakdowns is very like, it's very uncomfortable to me, and it's uncomfortable for so many reasons. But something that I am trying to get better at is learning how to just, like I said in the end of that entry, I don't know what to call it, at the end of my notes, is that I'm trying to learn how to just experience the emotions without feeling like I have to decipher what they mean right then, or I have to decide what I'm going to do with those emotions. That I can just experience the emotion and then trust God that He will reveal it to me, that the plan will play out how it's supposed to, and I don't have to do any deciphering. You know, it's hard because when emotional breakdowns like that hit, it can be so paralyzing, and sometimes it's hard to even tell whether you should just rest, like, okay, now's the time to just like feel it, let it pass, rest, versus when is the point that you get up, you kick yourself up and you go into gear. Because sometimes action can be very, is the word cathartic? Like it can be soothing for emotional angst and things that you're going through. But also sometimes people can use action as a way to distract them from what they're feeling. And that kind of is like saying the same thing. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes I think it can not be a good thing because we need to feel those things and let our body kind of feel and process. But all I know is it can feel hopeless, and it's amazing. And this is the very interesting thing to me about emotions in general, and this is why I sit on both sides of the camp, that it's like emotions are kind of fickle, because I've had times where I am in like the pit, like so just down and sad and feeling overwhelmed and stressed. And then like 2 days later, I am pretty much 100% back to fine and focusing on all the exciting things in my life and what God is doing in my life and what I'm looking forward to. It can change so fast. But then at the same time, I have had so many things change in my life because of emotions that bubbled up and wouldn't go away. And because I stopped and I examined them, and I actually talked about this in the last chatty video that I did last week, which I will link down below, called I Hate This Feeling. But examining those emotions, examining those negative emotions, the ones I don't want to deal with, have a few times in my life led me to make changes that I'm very grateful for making, that I think have made me a healthier person. And if I had just ignored them or not looked at them, not conversed with them, not examined them, not prayed about them, if I had just like, go, I'm just gonna keep busy and not think about it, I would not have made those changes in my life. Now, I don't want to sound, and I know I said this in the last video, and so many of you guys were so nice, or in the last chatty video, that I get so paranoid that I sound like a know-it-all, or like, I don't even know, just annoying, but so many of you guys were so nice to me and so encouraging, and I appreciate that like so much. But I just want to like reiterate that life and happiness, joy, that's a separate note. Well, I was gonna say that life is very layered. I just want to repeat this, like my therapist says, emotions come in sets of 3. Now, what I want to say, why I went ooh, is Dan and I actually recently watched the movie Inside Out. I had seen that movie years ago, but then recently when I was watching, I go on like these foster care binge watching things, and one of the women that I watch online who talks about foster care a lot, her name is Kate. I will link her video down below. She just talks about all kinds of things having to do with foster care. And she mentioned that movie being a great insight specifically to kids who have dealt with trauma and kids that you might encounter in the foster care system. So she was talking about that in regards to that. But when I watched the movie and what made me think about it right now, I noticed so many things I've never noticed in that movie. Now, I'm not a cartoon person as a generalization. I just don't really like enjoy them. I recognize the brilliance behind so many of those movies that like Pixar puts out. And on a side note, I was like I read a John Lasseter biography a few years ago, and just very interested in the people that create these movies, but I typically don't love them. But when we watched this movie, there were so many things I noticed the second time that I didn't notice the first time. And the main thing that I just wanted to tell you guys that I noticed, this is probably Captain Obvious, but still almost say it, is that the character of Joy in the movie, they symbolize the color of joy with the color yellow in that film. So her outfit is yellow, the little orb of emotion when she's dealing with joy is yellow, but the actual character of Joy is not only yellow, she's also blue. And the character of Sadness in Inside Out is blue. And I noticed, I was like, oh my gosh, that's because Joy is so layered. There's so much to feeling joy, and joy is often built out of sadness, I guess you would say, out of so many things that life throws you in hardships. You know, happiness, it is fleeting. We'll use that word. It comes and it goes, and it's meant to be savored when it's there, but it's not something, when people say like, oh, happiness is a state of mind, happiness is something that you can control. I agree about that to a degree, because I think attitude and state of mind is important, but I also just don't think that we can or are meant to be happy 24/7. There are so many layers to life, and I just thought that was really beautiful in the movie when I noticed that, like, oh, that's cool. That's exactly what we were talking about. I want to encourage you, if you're going through a hard time right now, if you're experiencing a lot of emotions, if you're going into an emotional breakdown, I want to encourage you to ride through that season, feel those emotions, and don't necessarily feel the stress to have all of those emotions figured out right away, or to interpret them or know what they mean. Besides the fact that I don't even know if you really can anyways, sometimes you have to just ride it out. Now, that being said, I know I mentioned in this video like examining emotion and looking at what it is, but sometimes that's not possible to do when you're going through it, man. Like when I'm really emotional and it's like a breakdown like that, that isn't really the time that I can examine, like, what does this mean? What am I supposed to be doing next? Especially considering the fact that, which we didn't even touch on this, sometimes it's just physiological. Sometimes you might be having a panic attack or some kind of breakdown that is more based in the physical, hormonal imbalances, maybe some kind of panic disorder. That's a thing too. And so just allowing yourself to ride through it, keeping yourself calm, finding ways to take yourself down, if that's the word, but not down, just like keeping your energy calm, finding those things are healthy ways to deal with it in the moment. And then, you know, once you come off of it, that's the time I think it's good to examine. So things that I do when I'm dealing with these emotional like breakdowns, these moments, there's a few things. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and like fire them out. First off, I have to just get this out there on the table. I do have a medication from my doctor for Xanax. So if I am having a panic attack, which does not happen to me very often, but if I am having one, I have an actual medication from my doctor, which is something that I think is worth looking into if you're open to that, because if you struggle with any kind of like panic disorder type situation, that medication can be it's like a miracle worker. It's like taking an Advil except for emotional chaos. And when you are having a panic attack, that can just be amazing. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I've mentioned this before, I'm a big fan of hot Epsom baths, Epsom salt baths. I think that baths are one of the best ways to like calm your body down, especially if you're someone that deals with chronic pain or any inflammation. That is something that my body loves more than anything else, more than working out, more than just anything. My body loves a hot bath. So that's another tool that I employ. Another thing that I use is essential oils. I am a big fan of oils for emotional support. For me, I'm not talking about oils necessarily in regards to like a panic attack. Like I said, I tend to reach for my medication if I'm in the middle of that, but I do use oils for emotional support on the daily because I really find that it makes a big difference for me personally. I use the Valor blend from Young Living. I use lavender oil. I use citrus oils, orange, lemon, tangerine. It's so uplifting. So I use that as well. Another thing that I do, which probably should have been near the top of the list, but I guess just specifically talking about what I do when I start falling into those full-on panic attacks. But prayer, man. This morning I was feeling heavy and just kind of like, if I'm being honest, I was a little worried about filming this video because when it comes time for me to get chatty with you guys, I love it, but I feel like a sense of responsibility behind what I say, obviously. So I was just feeling a little bit like, okay, you didn't get this up yesterday and now you're taking on a whole different topic. What are you gonna do? I ended up praying for 2 hours this morning, and it's unbelievable. And I've said this before, and it continues to blow my mind, which probably shouldn't, but it does, as to how helpful and soothing and calming prayer really is for me. So prayer is another, I don't want to say tool that I employ, because I try to just be in prayer daily and all throughout the day, but I'll say tool because I will notice sometimes like, wow, I haven't like been in continuous communication with the Lord at all in the last few days, or whatever it is. I'll notice and I'm like, I need to go to him. So that's another thing. Another tool is therapy. I love my therapist. Seeing a therapist has been so helpful for me because I'm able to express like my deepest, darkest thoughts or whatever and bounce them off of someone in a safe environment and find out like, am I judging myself too harshly here? Am I not taking this area seriously enough? Blah, blah, blah. Another tool that I employ is physical movement, whether that's going on a walk. That's really awesome because then you're not only getting movement, but you're also getting fresh air and hopefully some sunshine, which is great for your body. But I also like to stretch. I like to do like Pilates. I'll follow along on some like light yoga and stretching videos on YouTube. Just getting in some movement, spin classes is really helpful for me. Now I do want to pause and say, I know I'm going all over the map because I'm not really addressing just panic attacks or just like a bad mood. I've kind of like hit the gamut because I know I actually had a panic attack last week for the first time in months. And there wasn't going to be any physical movement. Like I was stuck on the ground because I didn't even have the strength to get up. When I would try to get up, it's like everything was shaking and I couldn't. It was a very physiological response. But I am kind of addressing the overall, like if you're able to keep moving, just things that you can employ. Last but not least, another thing that I try to do when I'm noticing my emotions are all over the map is I take some vitamin B, a B complex. Now, I'm gonna have to start adding this disclaimer in my videos. Obviously, I am not a doctor and you need to do what feels comfortable for you, including checking with your doctor if that is something that you want to do. But I do take a vitamin B complex because most people tend to run lower in vitamin Bs anyway. It's another water soluble vitamin like vitamin C, so replenishing that is good. And vitamin B has been shown to help people tremendously with their moods and their emotions, just stabilization of all of that. So yeah, guys, that's it for today's How to Be Happy January video. I really hope that, I don't know, that scrapping that other video and refilming this video was able to be an encouragement for you guys. I hope this was able to be an encouragement and uplifting for you and helpful for you. And I just want to say again, if you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I want to say every single comment that comes through, so I know what's been going on in my comment section, and I like to hear your guys' thoughts. So feel free to just like chat in the comments, share things with each other, share things with me. If you have a different opinion, if you have other thoughts to add, feel free to let me know. And I will see you guys back here actually tomorrow with another video. I'm going to try to like knock us back onto the same schedule. If not, I'm going to try to have grace with myself, but I'm going to make a good effort. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. All right. Bye, guys.